Okay, it's June 16th, and I'm here at the home of Dana Valdez in El Rito, New Mexico. She's the mother of MichelleFaithVildez, who is part of my study at the University of New Mexico, remapping Chicana, Chicano, Hispana, Hispano, and Mexicana, Mexicano cultural memory in the 21st century, ritual memorialization along the Camino Real de Tierra Adentro. I just need to, for recording purposes, Dana, ask that I have permission to utilize this interview for my dissertation, which includes a piece of your daughter's story. And I just want permission to be able to record you and utilize that for the university dissertation, and possibly to later on utilize it as a published document for a book.
You have my permission.
Thank you, Dana. I guess what I want to do today is maybe talk a little bit about, you can maybe give us a background of your story, your life story, maybe where you were born and raised. And we can just start conversing from there. We can start there, and you can talk about how long you've, if El Rito has been your home forever, your whole life, and things like that, what you do as a career, and where you're at right now at this point, and how old you are maybe.
Okay. Well, I have lived in El Rito all my life. I was born in Española to Veronice and Salomon Archuleta. I have 6 brothers and sisters. Well, I had one passed on, so now we have 5. But we lived here all my life, and I went to school here. After we had Michelle, we moved to Farmington for a couple of years, and that's when my other daughter was born. But for most part, we've lived here. And Michael is from here also. And we married right after high school, and in 74 and in 75, we had Michelle. She was our firstborn, and she brought a lot of joy to us. She was a special child. She was always happy, except she used to like to be in the car a lot. So that's where she would go to sleep. We'd come home, and she would have a hard time to go to sleep. We'd put her in the car, and out she went. She had lots of friends in school, and she loved her uncles, her grandparents, and her sisters. She always was watching out for all of us. She was a great help when I was going to college. I used to drive up to Las Vegas, and I had the three daughters, and she would, sometimes her and Velvet would go with me all the way to Las Vegas just so that I would come home. When Michael couldn't go, they would take me. And she was always very religious. She always knew the importance of going to church, going to confession, doing things for others. Mom still remembers on Saturdays when she would go and check up on them, and she always had her she'll go up. She didn't even take a shower. She just went to go check up on him. And if somebody was sick, she'd go take him to the doctor, and she was always there for us, as we were there for her. But she would have been a great mother and a great person. It's just hard to be without her. But we know that she's at a better place. This world has gotten so bad that it's hard in the choices that we make. And we still feel her presence here. Her pictures are everywhere. even my grandkids, well, who's that girl? Who's that girl? They were at the beginning, and now it's Auntie Mitch. And they'll tell other people who she is and what happened to her. And it's hard to look back to that day, but it's important that they all know what really happened to her. Especially at this time when alcohol and drugs are so bad. But I guess in a way we've accepted it, but it's still very hard to talk about it. Or like her birthday just came up, and we were like, we always do things for birthdays, like going out to eat or barbecuing or whatever. But this time it was like, my husband tells me, we're going to go out and eat. So we told the girls that we all went out, and we made a toast to her on her birthday. She would have been 35 years old. And usually we just have a dinner here, but this one would be 35. So we had to go out and celebrate the 21 years she did spend with us. That's how we kind of looked at it. And
What was the date of her birthday?
June the 8th.
June 8th. So it just passed.
It just passed. And
So every year you have like a dinner
yeah.
to honor her memory here? And
Well, we usually do it as memorial on the 25th of March.
Mm-hmm.
She passed on, but for her birthday we always do something as a family. She had a kind heart, and that's why when we went to court with that young boy that killed her, it was like, we can't ask for a great punishment. We had been at the game just days before, and she was all talking about him and how he was a team player. It wasn't all about him. So it was like really hard to see him up there and say, give him the maximum or whatever. Because we believe that we're not here to judge anybody. We're here to live and take care of each other. And I know people were like, what is wrong with them? He killed their daughter. But the way we saw it was, he's going to suffer the rest of his life for what he did to her, because they were friends. But if only he wouldn't have been out of the road. And my husband has a really hard time, because she had told him that they were getting ready to bring in their double wide and park it there at that property. But they had to get this test and that test. And she was all, I was begging him to go on that day. And he had said yes at first. And then he told her, he thought it's too late. It's better to do it at the weekend during the day. And before she left that day to work, she came back in and she said, Dad, are you going to go or not? We need to do it like that. Everything's ready after the wedding. We could just move in. And he finally said, okay, I'll go. But I don't understand why she came all the way over here. And he couldn't. He said, if only I would have stuck to say no, it wouldn't have happened. And it was like, there's a reason for everything. Why did she come over here? And she went back with him so that she could come back with Melvin. So I think he's kind of accepted that part, that it wasn't his fault. But all in all, we're always blaming ourselves. Like that day was report card night for our youngest one. She said, go for Marty. Don't worry about us. We'll order from the farolito and we'll have dinner here when you come home. And she never made it back, and neither did I. They called to the high school to say, just a minute.
Okay. I'm okay, thank you.
And when they told, I was with one of the teachers, and when they told me, I was like, well, they must have gone to an accident. And they said that they were at the hospital. So I thought Michael and her had gone into an accident. I didn't know who or what, just that they were in the hospital. So my sister-in-law took me. All the way we prayed that things would be all right, and it was. She was okay. The doctor said, oh, she's got a broken leg, a broken arm. So they took us out of the emergency room and took us back to the waiting room, and then I came in. It was like I couldn't stand it anymore. I came into the room, and they had the curtains closed. The doctor said, we need some more blood. And I opened the curtain and I said, what do you mean more blood? You said she only had a broken arm and a broken leg. And he said, we're having problems. He said, we're going to have to airlift her. We can't give her surgery here. We're going to have to airlift her to Albuquerque. And they needed our permission, so we gave our permission. And shortly after that, they took her, and I was like, well, where's she going? We can't wait for the ambulance anymore. He said, we're going to have to take her in and do the surgery here. And it wasn't very long. They came back and said she didn't make it. And she kept asking for help. But how is he? How is he? There's nothing wrong with him, I kept telling. Well, then tell him to come in here. I said, Mitch, you can't. They're still examining him, but he's fine. And that was the end of that. But when we first walked in, she kept saying, she was still real lightly, hi, give me a kiss. She had all this dirt and weeds on her hair. And so I gave her a kiss, and Michael was, what's wrong with you, bitch? Look at you. You have to take care of yourself. Can't kiss the kiss. Dad, just give me a kiss. But he knew, because she never went anywhere or came. She'd always kiss us, or whoever was here. And she'd leave, or she'd come in and give us a hug and a kiss. And that's what she wanted to do that day, was say goodbye. I was determined that thing was going to happen to her. So I did. I gave her a kiss. And they took her in. When we saw her, it was already when she was gone. And they let us to go in. The waiting room was full of people. All of them were there. They were crying. We were crying. And the state police followed us. Led us into El Rito. And the house was full of people when we got here. It was just so hard. And it's sometimes we relive it. We've been able to deal with it, but I have had dreams of her. So as Michael, sometimes little things happen that it's like, it couldn't have happened. It had to be her. And I do believe she's in a better place, as hard as it is for us. Because you never know. There's so many divorces and everything that into her marriage was a very sacred thing. When my brother was getting a divorce, she kept saying, Mom. And I didn't see her face. I just saw, she just got me from my shoulder. She said, Mom, you need to talk to Uncle Bertie and Auntie May. They can't get a divorce. Because you know what? It doesn't matter whose fault it is. It's hard for the kids. If you and Dad would have gotten a divorce, I don't know what I would do, she said. I certainly could make a choice between you, the both of you. So go talk to them. And I did. Their little girl was a baby then. And I talked, my brother wasn't there, but my sister-in-law was. I talked to them and to her, shortly after that, she said that that there was a baby. She had a little doll, and the little doll was crying, and she had never cried. She said, and I really felt like Michelle was here. And they didn't get a divorce. So that was good, I guess. It was her way of coming back and telling them not to. It's just, and she was real spiritual. She always thought about resurrection and everything. And she believed in it. Our youngest always thought the world would end at 2000. She would say, no, nobody knows when it's going to end, Martina. But what if I don't graduate? Well, there's more important things than graduating, she said. And those things just happen.
Donna, maybe we can go back a little bit just for a better, also a more recent idea, because this is also a story of Michelle's life, and maybe we could talk a little bit. You had some beautiful stories about how she was preparing for her matrimony and kind of like that idea of picking her dress, and maybe we can talk a little bit about it.
All over for her dress. She found her dress. She would try it on.
Where did she find her dress finally, you said?
At there in Espanola. I forget the shop where she found it, but that's where she found it, and it was beautiful. And she had been gaining weight, so she kept saying, it's not going to fit. So she would go out and try her dress. Yeah, I have to stop eating. And that day she had taken cabbage, and a cabbage diet, I don't know what it all had. And when she came back to go with Michael, she said, I'm really hungry. That soup didn't help too much. So we had to have the carne seca up at the garage hanging, and it was dry already, so she would have got a few pieces for her and for Michael and for Melvin. Well, by the time they were getting over there, it was so good, and Michael tells her, well, I thought you brought stuff for Melvin too, and she said, yeah, I'll keep him a slice. But she was determined she was going to lose weight, because if she gained any more weight, that beautiful dress wasn't going to fit her. And it did fit her. And she took it with her. She took her wedding rings.
And I guess Father said that they had already done their classes, they had already completed them. And what was the date of the wedding that it was supposed to be, or do you remember, or you?
It was supposed to be June the 25th, I believe. The 20-something, I'm not sure about.
My brother's wedding is June 25th, his anniversary. Oh. That was my grandpa's birthday too.
Oh.
So because my grandpa passed on, to honor him, they got married on his birthday. Oh. So that's a real common, I guess, June weddings, right, are very common too. So maybe we can talk a little bit about, and I really appreciated, Donna, I know this is hard, and I really appreciate you being with me and being really present. I want you to know that, because it's very important. But maybe we could talk a little bit.
It helps to talk about her. Mm-hmm. As hard as it may be, it's just things I feel, except I don't really talk to anybody about it. It's just the way things are.
I thank you for sharing with me. But maybe we could talk a little bit about why you buried her in her wedding dress, and your own thought process, and maybe just to record it and remember that again.
Well, she wanted to be married. That was so important, to be married to Melvin, and all the time that we spent looking for her dress, and she wanted it to make sure it still fit for that one day, that it was like, that's what was important to her. Why go buy her a dress that had no meaning? And that dress meant a lot. And they were going to have all these kids. Even now we pass through that property and we're like, hey, we could stop by and visit with them. Imagine all the kids. And it was like, well, how are you going to have so many kids when you both work? Oh, there's daycares.
There's grandma and grandpa, is what she probably really meant.
And then she said, his mom didn't work or anything. Maybe she could move in with them, because at that time she was living in a small trailer. I was like, Michelle. But they never had children. But she did take her dress, which was so important to her. So it was important for her to take what was hers. She took our love, and she went with her dress, and she's at a better place. And for that, I'm thankful that that's how we've been able to deal with it, knowing. And God is good. He said He has sent us our grandchildren. Not that they could ever take her place, but they bring joy to us too. She used to work at the farolito. She'd come home, look at all this money I made today on her tips. She was a hard worker. She'd go out and get wood with her dad. Well, the three of them did, but mostly her. And I could see when she would tell me, I could make a choice between you and Daddy. When I was at work or at school, he always had her with him. And she spent a lot of time with my parents, her grandpa and her grandma, and my side of the family. She would stop for my little nephew there in Medinales, and bring him. He was little, he was like 2 years old, I guess, when she would stop for him. And he would already have told my sister Melissa to pack his backpack. And he'd come so happy. The first time she brought him, Hita, doko smash. Well, we didn't have a bed for him. Mom, don't worry, we fit at the bed. And he just loved her.
So how many kids would she talk about wanting to have?
At least 8.
At least 8.
And my little nephew, the one that she would bring, wrote the book at school shortly afterwards.
That's crazy.
He wrote the book after he started school, but that's when I had my cancer. I don't know how he started with a farm concert and then he went on to something else.
This is cool. This is dedicated to my Auntie Donna because she's sick. It's cool.
So he did have farm animals, but then
Now the frogs start appearing.
and the pig, of course.
You know what I always laugh at that, you know how they have pigs for sale when you're coming between Ojo Caliente here? I wanted to take a picture one day because, you know, sometimes they call the police officers pigs. There was a state cop standing parked right in front of that sign. I thought that would be a cool little billboard to put up. Just to taunt them a little bit.
You'd probably get in trouble.
I probably would, but that's nothing new done. I'm always in trouble. It's cool little sheep.
She's upside down.
I can't sleep. So cool.
And he would tell her, well, he was about 2 then, and he'd tell her, I love you up to the rainbow. And then after she passed, he would tell me, it's still now.
He still loves you up to the rainbow.
Yes. We still go on about it.
Yeah, there's little children that you can connect with. And it's beautiful that she had that gift. Everyone I talked to, Michelle had a gift of connecting, you know, with everybody. The only interview I've really done here in Nerito is Father Pat and now you. And maybe I can interview your daughters later on. Maybe. If they're up for it, you know. For all of that, because, you know, I think it's really important what you've kind of captured just in your story. It's exactly how the community works. And, you know, when we have a loved one pass, you know, people are waiting at the door, not to be disrespectful, but to show you their love and their respect and see how they can help you. Not necessarily.
And we had people coming over all the time afterwards so that we wouldn't be alone. And me, I wanted to stay home, and my husband was totally different. He just wanted to get out. Until we finally just, he would either stay or we would both go. And people were still coming with cards and food and money, and it was like all these people, you don't see your community in that way, and when things like this happen, it's like they're so wonderful, just like she was. Dad would be sick. You have to go to the doctor, Grandpa. And she was, no tengo nada, los doctores no quieren tomar dinero. She would say, no, come on, get ready. O lo llevo a cita. So he had to get ready, and she would take.
Wasn't she working on a degree when she passed on? She was doing work study at Northern too, I think. Or was she helping a lady there? One of the ladies that works there said that
she was
they were doing some work together or something.
She used to get into everything, but she had a job at Los Alamos.
Oh, okay.
Sue Thompson was her boss.
Pero también estaba trabajando for her nursing degree, did you tell me? At Northern?
She always wanted to help people. And what a better way. I wanted to do that, but then when I had the girls, I thought teaching would be better because I had the summers off. So she was going to do it, what I couldn't do. And neither one of us got it done. I guess it wasn't meant to be.
Maybe not nursing, but in other ways, right? In other ways. Because many times even, maybe you can give me a little bit about the rationale of putting her memorial, her photo up on the billboard, and how you kind of you came to terms with that, and what your belief was in doing that. And
well, the reason why we did that was Mothers Against Drug Drivers got in contact with us, and I felt that if I was going to do that, it would be more like I had already worked up within myself forgiving this guy and accepting it, and I thought, I'm going to get all worked up again, and I can't do that to myself. So when Juan asked us about the billboard,
who was it? Juan,
I forget what his last name was. He's no longer there.
Where did he work? He worked for Matter.
No, he was the one that was in charge of DWI at that time.
Okay, for the county.
Yeah.
Okay.
We said, sure, that would probably help somebody more than, because there's so many lives taken because of that. And that's why we decided to go with the billboard. And we just saw him recently. He's no longer with them, and he was really upset because they took down the billboard.
I was a little bit upset too, but I thought, okay, it was my message from Pascualita and Michelle that it's time to get the project done. Because it happened while I was in Mexico, and I got back, and I'm like, because I always go by and I say hello to her, and I
where is she?
make my sign of the cross and everything, and I just it affected me a little bit too. I was traumatized a little bit.
Yeah, that day that we saw. We're sorry. It's like she was there for a while. I think she served her purpose to a lot of people. And it was time for her to go on. And
well, I think what's happening at this point, I think it's what it was a reflection of a very grassroots effort to help our community in a very real way. But these days, all those billboards that are even going up in that whole area are very, very, it's not about helping us any longer. It's more about throwing us behind the bars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like these billboards are like, the storm is coming. We're going to arrest you. 100 days and nights of summer. We've bought into this idea that where it's a smaller grassroots community effort. They're bringing in these kind of ideas of a national agenda rather than a community agenda where, you will go to court and you will say, you know what, my daughter forgives you and I forgive you. I am honoring my daughter in this way, and I know that you're going to have an extremely hard life, and I don't want to add to that. Is a different agenda now. Even MAD, in their efforts to talk to people and families and victims and stuff, they're really, really heavily pushy, and it doesn't allow for healing in many ways. It leaves a not an open wound, but a bandaged wound that won't heal. So that's how I've been seeing it, just in my research and looking around and stuff like that.
But that's exactly how I felt. I thought, I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
They talked about walks, and I do my faith walks when I want and for what I want. And she's always in my prayers, and she's always with me, that I don't need to do that. As hard as it is some days, it's better, I think, just to do it our way than to be out there in the open. And I don't think that needs to be done, because I haven't seen much of a change.
The only change is they're getting a lot more, there's a lot more money in it now, and they're charging people a lot more money, and I don't know where that's all going right now, but I notice, there's a lot of corruption even in the police forces and everything here in Rio Arriba County. They're expanding the police force, but the problems are expanding too, so there's something that's not following suit, like what you're saying, the way it's supposed to serve its purpose. And maybe the spirits on those billboards too said, we're no longer serving that purpose too. So the agreement's also made, from a higher power, I think, as well.
There's a reason for everything. That's the way I see it. Although at first I couldn't see a reason for her passing. But God knows what He's doing, and He helped us through it. And He helped me through the cancer. And now my husband has cancer. So pray for him, please.
Yes, I will.
And
I gave Mike a big hug a while ago. I got to see him, and he says, "You're here." And I said, "Yes, I'm going to see Donna." So he gave me the directions to the house, and I said, I won't bother her calling her. I'll just show up.
That's fine. I'm here.
But yeah, and I guess, Donna, I thank you for allowing me to talk about community through the lens of Michelle's story. I really think it's beautiful, and I think that, although our communities are changing, we still have to be there for each other and
they are.
Teach ourselves, or share these stories. It's not my story, it's our story, and it's something that I think is really important to place out there with this dissertation, and I'm ready for it to be the words to be out there. And I think that the billboard was covered, and it was the sign that said, "Okay, girl, stop waving at us and start getting on that computer and typing up some stuff." So I really appreciate that. Is there anything else you wanted to add with regards to memorialization and your own personal ways of doing that, and how maybe they help you through what it is that you're dealing with, Donna?
Well, we always have to have a mass for her on that day, and we try on the day of her birth. And we always have dinner like we used to with her and with them. And it's almost like she's still around. It's like, except we can't hug it, we can't. But she's a big part of our life. And God has his reasons, and we can't question them. So that's how we accept it. Look forward to being resurrected. Hopefully, we're good. We'll meet again. But she was a special baby. She was a special toddler. She was special in every way. And yes, like any child, she did little things here and there. But for the most part, she was a wonderful daughter. And she was always happy and always willing to give. She didn't have much money because she wouldn't get paid that much. But she'd always think of others first. Like for the holidays, why do you go all out? We don't eat all these things. Because I want to. She was too much.
Gone pero nunca olvidado, right?
Nunca. I don't care how long we live, she's always here.